At a time when many have sensed isolation and have in fact been quite fearful, many of you have shown great resilience and strength and fortitude, even as we have stared adversity in the face. Our broadcast liturgies in this parish and throughout the diocese, not to mention the entire Episcopal Church, bring comfort and hope to many in our communities. It is my prayer that the many who tune in and who may never have had immediate contact with a parish church will now have contact, and it will be a joy for us to join with them in spirit and in truth. The same Spirit who promises that we may have life and have it more abundantly. However tough the struggle, until we are back together, we are forever changed and enlarged in our joy. As the novelist Jeanette Winterson says, as I try and understand how life works and why some people cope better than others with adversity, I come back to something to do with saying yes to life, which is love of life, however inadequate, and love for the self, however found. Not in the me first way, that is the opposite of life and love, but with a salmon-like determination to swim upstream, however choppy upstream is, because this is your stream. God's blessing in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit be upon you now and always. Amen.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lynn Wood, and I am here as part of the St. Thomas the Apostle Hollywood Stewardship team. We are very excited to have this opportunity to tell you all about everything we've been doing behind the scenes and sometimes in front of a camera over this past year. And we also are excited to talk about what's going to happen next year at our beloved church. When we met last year at our annual stewardship brunch, none of us had a clue what was coming. We don't have to remind you of all the trials and tribulations, the losses, the anxieties that have occurred over this past year as a result of COVID-19. This has been a tough time, and we've all had to really be strong to get through it, and we have to continue to be strong. And one of the places that's been extremely important for me, and I'm guessing for you, is our church and our church community. We have all missed our church community. We are a congregation of Anglo-Catholics who love our high mass with our gorgeous music and incense and bells and all of the trimmings that go with this tradition that we all love so much. And of course, not having it is tough. It's hard. But we are resilient as a community, and we are all in this together. We are all working hard. Many things are happening at St. Thomas behind the scenes that you may not know about, and some things that are in front of the scenes that you do know about. But we want you to know the whole gamut of things that have been happening here at our church and what we plan for this following year, so that we can continue to be a place where people can come and celebrate the Anglo-Catholic tradition that we adore. It won't just be me today. There's going to be a whole group of folks that come and talk to you, and 2 or 3 surprise visitors, as well as at the end maybe a few potential prizes for those of you who can stick with us through this whole process. So here we are with our annual stewardship meeting, and Joseph Warren, our church administrator, is going to tell you all about how we arrived at this year's stewardship theme. We have much gratitude to express to our beloved Joseph, who has worked extremely hard during this entire pandemic, but also extremely hard for this presentation. So, Joseph, thank you for that. And with those words, take it away.
Hi friends, Joseph here in the St. Damien Chapel. I have been attending the Diocesan Stewardship conferences over the past few months led by Bishop Bruce. And it was during these conferences that I began reflecting on our own stewardship program here. And I wanted a theme this year that, yes, gave us hope for the future, but also acknowledged what we're going through. And it was during this time that I came across the prologue to St. James' epistle, "Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing." Now, joy is not the first emotion we think of when we think of trials and tribulations. In fact, if we consider the trials like the one we're going through now, it can be very painful and difficult. But it is in these periods of anguish, there's the potential of creating something good. And James is inviting us to flip our anguish and anxiety into faith and hope and trust. And James doesn't just say, count some of it joy. He says, count it all joy. He likens each trial to our going to the gym and working our patience muscle. And a few verses later, he explains that trials are not to be celebrated for what they are. They're to be celebrated for how they change us, how they make us stronger. Blessed is a man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Now, I took these scattered ideas about acknowledging the current time, finding joy in that, and hope for the future. And I went to a graphic artist friend of mine, Christopher Link, and said, I need a picture. I need a picture that reflects all of that finding joy in the worst situations and finding a way that joy can bring us hope for the future. And several logos later, I think he hit upon the perfect image. I love this logo. I love the raindrops look like tears to me. The rainbow itself has been a symbol and a covenant for many different people in many different eras. But my favorite part is the joy itself. The joy is part of the clouds, and it's part of the rainbow. It's part of both. And it's also, it doesn't jump out at you. You got to find it. You got to look through the clouds to find that joy sometimes. You got to look hard through the clouds to find that joy sometimes. So I think this is a great image, and I thank Christopher for this. We also asked you for times when you found joy during these past 6 months. Here are some of our parishioners and their stories.
Hello, my name is Jim Fawcett, for those of you who don't know me. And I just wanted to take a moment to say how much I love and appreciate St. Thomas the Apostle Hollywood. I've been a proud member of this parish for a long time. I've seen a lot, as have many of our parishioners. This past year has been a great challenge to a lot of us, especially myself. I just wanted to take the time to say thank you to Father Ian for continually broadcasting Mass, continually showing up, even during COVID, for people who need him. I want to thank the rest of the clergy and the vestry for supporting him. I recently lost a job that I was very excited about getting, and I had offered up prayers for Thanksgiving for. But now I'm unemployed again, and that's okay because I have a talent, and I know that another job is just around the corner. On paper, I'm homeless, but I'm safe with a friend of mine living in Hollywood. And I just wanted to say, take the time to live in gratitude, live in faith, because that's what's gotten me through my darkest moments this past year. And I especially want to spend much love and appreciation to my friend Lynn Wood, who has taken the time to love me via emails and messages, and how much it's meant to be that we keep in touch and we check in on each other. Please consider a gift to St. Thomas this year if you can financially. If you can't, we understand. I will be pledging again this year, as I did not this past year. So God bless, and let's hope and pray for a better future. Thanks.
Hello, and for those of you that I haven't had the chance to meet in person, my name is Ed Tosca, and I'm the Rector's Warden here at St. Thomas the Apostle Hollywood. When the world seems so upside down, and when today's yes is tomorrow's no, it's hard to find those brief moments of joy, but I can assure you that they're happening here within our parish. Through patience and innovation, the last couple weekends we've actually started meeting in person. A few weekends ago it was the Blessing of the Animals, and last weekend we started our Sunday sunset services at 4 p.m. The joy that we are getting from being together, and the joy you can see in each other's eyes, is paramount. Before that, we pushed hard into the world of online live streaming. We have reached so many different people in so many different fashions. Our in-house parish is remaining tight. Those who have moved away, such as George and Alice in Washington State, and Sebastian in New Zealand, and Jamie in Ireland, are still finding the connection. And then we've seen things that have really shown that joy that we're looking for. People have been watching, we had no idea. And then when they're in need, they let us know. A perfect example of that would be someone in Houston who'd been watching for months and only reached out when a hurricane was approaching, asking for prayers. Another example of that is someone not too far away who had always been looking for the high Anglo-Catholic liturgy that we offer. She's become a great friend and a great follower. But perhaps for me personally, the greatest moments of joy that I have found lately is what I see actually on our parish ground, usually in the morning. Many of you know Jeff and I live nearby, and as a part of my morning run or walk, I always just walk through the parish to make sure everything is okay. I've made great friends with a man named John who sits on the concrete bench out front and just prays the rosary. I've introduced him to Father Ian, and the three of us have had wonderful, wonderful conversations. There are people in need who are searching out and they find us. I've been more than happy to provide them with the goodie bags, which include hygiene items, socks, some snacks, and the joy that they receive. But perhaps personally, one of the greatest experiences of joy for me was one morning I walked through and there was a young man sitting on the bench, and I asked him if he needed anything. He's like, no, I'll leave. I'm like, no, you don't have to leave. Do you need anything? And his response was, no, I just wanted to be closer to God. So in this time when things again seem completely upside down, if we just take a moment and look, joy will certainly abound, and it's certainly abounding in our parish at St. Thomas. Thank you.
Here is a small joy. I bought this dollhouse. Here, see? Oh, like this.
Yeah.
See the dollhouse?
Lovely.
Well, it's a pop-up, which I got from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I had been trying to figure a very cheap way to create the settings for my 8-minute movie about Eric Satie's laundress. And I found this, And I thought, oh, that will give me ideas to show the places where Eric Satie wrote his music. Won't be look exactly like that, but it'll be, a circular thing that'll go round. And now I can make the movie without having to fly to Paris, and they might not let me in there anyway, so that's good. Now, the big joy was that I saw a statue that had been standing at the center of a park for decades. And that statue was being torn down to lie in broken pieces on the grass. And for many years, I have felt guilty for not having studied enough history. But when I saw that statue torn down, I realized I can let go of all the guilt, because some of the history I might have learned in the 1940s, I would just have to unlearn today. Look at all the work I saved myself.
Well, hello. I miss everyone. I'm missing the regular ceremony and ritual that we enjoy. This has been an interesting time, and I hope that you have made the most of it, as I have tried to do. Some of the things that have been that have salvaged this period for me. One, I've spent a lot more time walking in the neighborhood, seeing neighbors I never knew I had. Our pets are a constant source of joy and discipline and regular feedings that are required. And as some of you may know, I've been doing chaplaincy work at Good Samaritan Hospital, but during the pandemic, they asked the volunteers not to come to the hospital because of the obvious the risk involved in being there with lots of COVID patients. So I have been making phone calls from home twice a week to the hospital, and this has been something that has at least given me a feeling of being able to do something positive during this time, and it's been a source of great not joy particularly, but it's been something very meaningful that has made this time different and on a certain level rewarding. Anyway, I hope you're all well, and I look forward to seeing everybody again sooner than later. God bless you all.
Hi, everybody. Back to me. The first thing we're going to do is talk about our year so far, and then we'll move forward with that, and you'll hear from a lot of people about this. When the citywide shutdown happened in March, we suddenly were faced with quite a few decisions, one of which, of course, was what to do with all of the people who attend our anonymous groups and the congregations that also use our parish hall. We made the tough decision and the necessary decision that all of that had to go immediately on hold, which it remains in that status as of now. The good news with all of that is that, as you all know, or many, that we have a caterer who uses our kitchen. And we were very worried about him with COVID-19 and what it was going to do to his business, because clearly there were not going to be very many gatherings of large groups of people where he usually provides his food. As it turns out, he has been very industrious and forward-thinking in regarding all of that. And he has provided food for shut-ins and for the homeless, and has modified his business plan to focus more on individual food delivery. So we're very, very pleased that Scott has been able to remain at St. Thomas and working in our kitchen. So that's very, very happy news. We also have supported many worthy community and Episcopal organizations over this past year, and specifically in relation to COVID. Of course, the Diocese of Los Angeles, the Gooden Center, Children's Hospital of LA, Hillsides, Habitat for Humanities, and, of course, the Royal British Legion. We always like to do our part for our country and our rector's country. Now you're going to hear from Ray Beatty, who is going to tell you all about how he and those around him have handled the Breakfast Club and what has been done for our homeless brothers and sisters in our community. Okay, Ray, your turn.
Hi, I'm Ray Beatty. I run the Homeless Breakfast Club at St. Thomas, and we've been doing this for about 25 years, and I've been directing it for about almost 20 years. And we feed people once or twice a month, twice to 4 times a month, and have for that period of time. In March, due to COVID-19, we canceled our in-person program. And so we pivoted immediately to giving out food cards to people that we saw on the street, and bags of toiletries and bags of non-perishable food. This way we could serve approximately the same number of people as we have in the past without having volunteers here subjecting themselves to possible infection, also not infecting our patrons or having our patrons infect us. So we stepped away to be careful, but we worked very hard to try to serve and continue to serve as many people as normal, which is typically a couple hundred people more or less per month. As the virus continues or doesn't, we will pivot again. We had a tentative plan to set up tables and pass things out. I believe we're going to wait until we see what the virus does as it intersects with flu season. And if things don't look too bad, we will begin in person by putting a table out, possibly in the parking lot, having a person distribute bags of food, a little less perishable, muffins, etc. And then as it works out time-wise, and none of us knows, we will come back to our normal program. But I want to assure everybody that we are serving as many people as we have in the past, and we're thinking about this and trying to stay ahead of it, and it's difficult. And we're open to suggestions from people. If you have any ideas, contact Joseph, and he can give you my information. You contact me. We can put our heads together and think of anything we can do to continue serving this crowd of folks who need us. And I'll be glad when we all get together and can see one another again. I miss all of you, and I miss our patrons, and look forward to this being behind us. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jeffrey Parola, who is the master of the music at St. Thomas the Apostle Hollywood. Jeffrey is an amazing gift to our congregation and has elevated our music to such a gorgeous extent that we are all eternally grateful. So thank you, Jeffrey, for all your hard work. I'm looking forward to hearing everything Jeffrey has to say about our music and what we can look forward to, and I know you are too. So take it away, Jeffrey.
Hello, friends. I want to first start by thanking all of you for your continued support of St. Thomas the Apostle. Everything you've done in the past, everything you continue to do for our beautiful parish, especially during this terrible pandemic, and also what is to come in the future as we kick this pandemic and our church moves boldly forward. This year's theme for Stewardship is joy, which I think is a beautiful juxtaposition over this terrible situation of suffering during this pandemic. We Christians are particularly equipped with understanding that within suffering, there is value to be found, and there is joy to be found. After all, Christ's cross leads to the resurrection. So what is this teaching us about our faith? Yes, we are in exile from our church right now, but many of our ancestors were in exile as well. We can relate to that. And in this exile, we're deepening an appreciation for what we've had as a community and as a sacramental faith. We are a faith that is incarnational. We are beginning to really understand what it means to say, the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. Wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he is there. We've become acutely aware of what we had, what's missing, and what we long to have back. St. Thomas has been a source of joy for me for 8 years, over 8 years now, and it has deepened my faith in God. It has made my music-making career a meaningful one, as not only are we worshiping together as a community, but we're offering it to God's glory. And the community of people, the friends, the familiar faces, the beautiful singing from the congregation, the lovely choir with whom I get to work every Sunday, all of those things bring me, and I'm sure many of us, great joy. We have to remember that music is central to our faith as our way of praying and communicating with God. So I encourage that we continue to support music as we move our church forward. And speaking of moving forward, we do have plans coming up for 2021. The organ project will finally be done. John West, who is a great concert organist and a former organist at St. Thomas, will give a concert on our organ. The St. Thomas Choir will sing the Duraflé Requiem for All Souls, and the choir will also premiere a piece that I've written to honor the centennial of St. Thomas. Advent lessons and carols will happen in December. And most of all, we'll be singing hymns together again. We'll be praying together again. I long for that day, and I have trust and faith that it will come soon. Thank you for your continued support and your love, and may God bless you.
I think we all know that we have been the lucky recipients of several virtual programs that have come to us through a lot of hard work from Father Davis and also several of our faithful parishioners. Father Davis and Jeffrey Parola, Jeffrey Clark Tosca, and Ed Tosca have been instrumental in creating ways to bring the St. Thomas Masses and services to parishioners virtually from week 1 of the shutdown. We've been very, very lucky that they were willing and able to take on this task, which is not a small one, to help us with our worship during this very difficult time. So thank you, all of you. In just a few minutes, we're going to hear from Jeffrey Clark Tosca, who will tell us more about the background and also the insider information about what was happening in all of the services. So I look forward to that. In addition, beginning in Advent, we presented a series of recorded lectures on the apocryphal Jesus and also had a monthly Bible study group led by Father Davis. The pandemic put a kibosh on that, at least for a period of time, but now we have relaunched a podcast, or I guess we've launched a podcast called Theologically Speaking. And this is an opportunity for our parishioner and vestryman, Kyle Leon Henderson, to ask Father Davis questions about theology that we're all wondering about. So Kyle will also be coming up, and he'll tell us more about the podcast and about how all of this idea came to be. So something else to look forward to. Earlier in the year, Jeffrey Parola hosted Musical Musings, which was a series in which Jeffrey interviewed choristers. And this was a delightful opportunity for all of us to get to know these lovely people who have shared their talents and their voices with us here at St. Thomas. So clearly these are wonderful chances for us to enjoy the virtual programming provided by many of these same people. So now I would love to hear from Jeffrey Clark Tosca, since we have 2 Jeffreys, and then we'll hear from Kyle Leon Henderson. Take it away, guys.
Over 1,400 people reached. That's how many people tuned in on that first night when we live streamed Latin Mass from the rectory. That number reached the Diocese of Los Angeles and eventually the National Episcopal News. And before we knew it, we were being interviewed to tell the nation our story of live streaming. That was in April of this year. Hi, my name is Jeff Clark Tosca, and I'm here today to tell you about digital discipleship at St. Thomas the Apostle. In early 2020, Kyle, Leon Henderson, and myself attended the ministry fair and learned all about what digital discipleship could mean for us. During that session, Kyle and I absorbed the many outlets that we could explore together to bring St. Thomas to the digital world. Since then, we put our heads together and approached Father Davis regarding the many possibilities and started our journey there. That ministry is now a full-fledged outreach called Digital Discipleship at St. Thomas the Apostle. Our digital outreach now includes live streaming Mass 4 times a week through Facebook and YouTube, and an Instagram account that now has over 500 followers worldwide. We also have a new podcast that has just started, a podcast series called Theologically Speaking. Different from the approaches of the past to fill church buildings, digital discipleship is all about sharing the liturgy and the rhythm of St. Thomas to congregants who would otherwise have never experienced us around the world. We share spiritual communion, real communion, with real people. We receive constant feedback from our new congregants who tell us that our work has saved their lives during this very difficult period. Because of our constant and consistent events, people are able to find their new rhythm in their own lives. And they feel the same experience I felt when I first entered the doors at St. Thomas. I am proud to lead the digital discipleship efforts here at St. Thomas. With the support of our parish members, our efforts will continue to bring our digital content to the outside world, expanding the definition of who our congregation is and bringing what makes St. Thomas special to the eyes and ears of anyone who tunes in. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kyle Leon Henderson, and I'm excited to tell you about Theologically Speaking, the St. Thomas the Apostle Hollywood podcast, produced by Church Nerds Productions as part of our ever-growing digital discipleship at St. Thomas the Apostle Hollywood. Theologically Speaking is hosted by me and Father Ian Elliott Davis, and together we're going to sit down and discuss any number of topics, suffering or service to others, or joy, love, sadness, social justice, anything you can think of, we're going to talk about it. And the thing about this show is we want to hear from all of the listeners. We want to hear from anybody's questions on social media, and I'm going to be taking those questions and asking directly to the priest, right from the source. So I hope that you will join us and ask your questions, because this is your opportunity to ask a priest anything you could possibly have wanted to ask him, because, no question is a silly question. We're going to talk about it. So I hope you will submit your questions and join us very soon for an episode of Theologically Speaking.
We have increased our visibility within the diocese and the wide ecumenical community quite a lot this past year, believe it or not, even with COVID-19. In addition to Canon Davis being the Dean of Deanery 3, this past year our very own Joseph Warren was elected President of the Deanery, and Randy Williams was elected Deanery Representative to Diocesan Council. Before the pandemic, Joseph and Randy and Art Gregorian made a monthly visit to a different parish within the deanery to attend a service and meet with clergy and lay leadership. Father Davis and Randy attend the monthly Diocesan Council meetings, even now, virtually, and Father Davis and Joseph attend quarterly clericus meetings. Additionally, Father Davis sits on the Bishop's Council of Advice on our Safe Return to Physical Presence, which of course we're all very eager for that to happen when it can be safe. One of the big things that has happened at St. Thomas that is not often talked about is that we have quite an active discernment process here. And we've had wonderful parishioners in the past who have come forward because they want to know, they want to discern if God is calling them to be either a deacon in the church or perhaps a priest. I've had the honor to be on, I think now I'm on number 6 discernment committees, and it is such a wonderful experience to be with other members of lay discernment committee and our person who is feeling called, and to work through a process to determine if this is indeed what they are called to do from God. One of the wonderful and happiest pleasures of my life has been that during the time that I have been at St. Thomas since 1994, we have had 3 people who have become priests. And I've been on 2 of those discernment committees, and couldn't be on the 3rd one because I was serving concurrently with the other committee was concurrent with the one I was on. Anyway, so we have had Father Steve DeMuth, who is a rector and pastor of Holy Trinity Episcopal Church in Covina, California, as one of our parishioners who has become a priest. We've had Mother Shireen Baker, who is a priest at the Church of Our Savior, Elmhurst, Illinois, who is the rector there. And we've also had Britt Bjornstrom Frazer, who is an associate director at All Saints Episcopal Church at Chevy Chase, Maryland. Having these 3 priests, 2 across the country and 1 here, is wonderful outreach for our Anglo-Catholicism and also for just the beauty and love that we share at St. Thomas the Apostle Hollywood. And it is my pleasure to let you know that all 3 of these people have sent a video message to us today. And I am so looking forward to hearing what they have to say. So here they are, Britt, Steve, and Shireen. And I'm not sure if that's in the right order.
Hello, everyone at St. Thomas. This is the Reverend Shireen Baker coming to you from Church of Our Savior in Elmhurst, Illinois. We are very busy here, as you are as well, I'm sure. We are doing quite a few things via Zoom and YouTube, and we are having some in-person worship, though done quite safely. We're also doing Bible study and book group and weekly forums via Zoom, so there's a lot to do around here. But I miss you guys. I miss the pageantry, of course, and the beauty of St. Thomas. There's nothing like it anywhere else in the world. But I also miss, and perhaps even more, I miss the lovely parish family that is there. All of my friends who are there, who are so devoted to what the church offers and do so much to make St. Thomas the special place that it is. So you will always be in my thoughts and prayers, and I look forward to seeing you again in person when that is possible. Okay. I love you all. God bless.
Greetings, St. Thomas friends. My name is Mother Britt Frazer, and I'm here sending along my hello from All Saints Church in Chevy Chase, Maryland. I currently serve here as the Associate Rector for Liturgy and Formation, but before I was here, I was a parishioner, an acolyte, a vestry member, and an all-around brilliant dishwasher at St. Thomas the Apostle in Hollywood. It's my honor to be with all of you as you enter into a special season of the church year, a season of stewardship, and a season of thanksgiving. When I think about what I'm thankful for, one of the very first things that I think about is St. Thomas the Apostle in Hollywood. I visited many Episcopal churches at this point, and there's something special about the way all of you at St. Thomas are stewards of Christ's holy sacraments. Through your music and your liturgy, your faithful online witness, you point the way again and again to the perfect love of Jesus, the love that he shares with us in his holy sacraments, and his love that teaches us how to live as children of God. I give thanks for every one of you all the time, and you all remain in my prayers. I can't wait to be with you again when we're able to do so. And during this time, I pray that your own hearts are opened and nourished by God's grace, and that in this season, Christ will inspire you to think about the new ways that you may be called to give of yourself, your time, your talent, your treasure, whatever it might be that the Lord is asking of you. Sending my greetings from my husband, Mark, as well. We look forward to seeing you soon and hope that God continues to bless you in this season of Thanksgiving. Take care.
So, after all that, we now can talk about the year ahead. And I'm going to try to make this short and quick because I know you're maybe getting a little tired. First of all, rest assured that the vestry will continue to be diligent in monitoring expenses and looking for every opportunity to make things more efficient and cheaper. That's the goal, always, so that our church budget is balanced. In addition, in terms of outreach, we ask our parishioners to give with cheerful hearts, and we as a parish cheerfully give to the community outreach, which is the first line of our budget. The parish currently gives 13% of its normal operating expenses to the Mission Share Fund. The Mission Share Fund is the primary source of funding for the operating expenses of the Diocese of Los Angeles. It goes for ministries that are not carried out on the congregational level and those that are most effective when resources are combined. Additionally, some congregations in the diocese depend on the fund to support their ministries. Our very own St. Thomas the Apostle Hollywood did that a little while back in 1912 to 1920. In 2021, we will raise our share from 13% to the 15% requested. The Breakfast Club director, Ray Beatty, and parish administrator, Joseph Warren, are working hand in glove with each other, looking for opportunities with community leaders to find new ways to bring services to our Breakfast Club patrons. That is one of our duties as Christians, to help those who need help, and they're working hard to make that happen. In terms of faith and knowledge and other fellowship, parishioners at St. Thomas are unique in that they're always seeking new knowledge and deeper understanding. And so we will continue our Theologically Speaking podcast on a monthly basis, and we will form a virtual writing group, which will be led by me. That will be a lot of fun, and beginners are welcome all the way to advanced writers, whatever. We're just going to get together for fellowship and to have fun. It will be via Zoom. More details to follow. Other ideas are forming for virtual fellowship, which include a virtual reading group and also a movie group. As far as our congregational plans, on the 11th of October, we began our weekly 4 p.m. in-person outdoor Sunday evening service. And though we might be a ways down the road before we're back in our church, that's a big step forward. Virtual masses will continue to be aired on Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, as well as special services that will be peppered along the way. On Monday, the 2nd of November, Father Davis will read the names in the chantry book in a solemn video at noon. And at 7 p.m. on the same day, a high requiem mass will be sung. That's on the 2nd of November. On Sunday, the 20th of December, at 10:30 a.m., Christmas lessons and music will be presented. Then on Thursday, the 24th of December, at 11 p.m., Midnight Mass will be seen on our various platforms. In addition, there will be a low Mass on Christmas Day. So you can't say that we're not all trying, and particularly Father Davis, when it comes to this. When it comes to our facilities, we have to recognize that we have aging buildings, and we are constantly working on those, the buildings, and also to keep our grounds beautiful. Much of the previous year's budget was spent on repairs and plumbing. In the new year, it's hoped that we can upgrade our interior reredos lights with efficient bulbs and a system that allows for easy access to the lights. That is not an easy process, by the way, because those lights are extremely high. Now we come to sort of a happy little moment, if I just hope I can find it. And that is, we promised a few gifts along the way. So this is what we've come up with. For the number one pledger, that means the first pledger, you will receive 3 sets of Vince Mesicelli's illuminated manuscripts greeting cards. That's a nice gift. Pledge number 19, because we're trying to be random, will receive a St. Thomas baseball cap. Pledge number 31 is going to get a St. Thomas t-shirt. Pledge number 48, a St. Thomas hoodie. Whoa, that's a good one. Pledge number 54, 2 dinners prepared by Scott May. That's an excellent one. Pledge number 81, 2 St. Thomas ornaments for Christmas. And pledge 100, 3 sets of Vince Mesicelli's illuminated manuscript cards. Again, that's a winner. We promise to be honest with those numbers, and Joseph will be in charge of all of that. It is now my pleasure to introduce a very special guest and our final guest of the evening. Well, I guess this is the afternoon. Who will talk to us about stewardship and the importance of giving. And that guest is our beloved Bishop Diane Bruce. So thank you, Bishop Bruce, for taking the time to speak with us on this special occasion. And we are so appreciative of your support to our church. So here is Bishop Bruce to talk to you in one final segment about stewardship. And thank you for your time and attention.
Once again, in today's gospel, the Pharisees are trying to trip up Jesus. If Jesus supports the paying of the tax, his Jewish siblings who are rebelling against the Roman occupation will shun him. If Jesus says it's unlawful to pay the tax, he'll be in trouble with the Roman authorities. What does Jesus do? He asks them to look at the coin. It's a Roman coin. Pay the tax, meaning give the emperor back his own coin. Then Jesus adds that wonderful line, give to God the things that are God's. What exactly is God's? Well, we are. We are. Our Christian faith in God points us always to live a life of gratitude and generosity. God showed us how we are to live and how to give to God the things that are God's. God gave us God's Son. God gave us God's first fruits, and we're asked to do the same, remembering that everything we have, everything we are, everything we do is a gift from God, and it's a gift that's meant to be shared. When we share from our first fruits, as God shared God's first fruit with us, we're modeling the same generosity God has shown us. Remember, we have 2 sets of 3-legged stools in our Episcopal branch of the Jesus movement: Scripture, reason, and tradition, and time, talent, and treasure. The first shapes our faith. The second is how we use the gifts we have been given to live out our faith.